of President Ben Ali and lost a key ally when he was deposed. Nonetheless, the State Department spokesman, P.J. Crowley, says the U.S. will help with the country's transition to democracy. To discuss Washington's reaction to the uprising and the potential for the overthrow of other U.S.-backed strongmen in the region, we're joined by SamerShehata. He's a professor of Arab politics at Georgetown University here in Washington. Is that then the U.S. position as far as you can tell? We want full democracy in Tunisia, or would it be more accurate to say they want another managed democracy of some sort in the region, perhaps?
Well, there wasn't a managed democracy in the region to begin with. I think that you're very right that the United States would rather take stability than full democracy. If full democracy meant, for example, a regime that came to power that wasn't friendly to all of U.S. interests or policy in the region. If that regime happened to be more radical, happened to be Islamist in character, happened to not support neoliberal economic reforms or the U.S. war on terrorism, then I think the U.S. would think twice. That's why the U.S. has been quite moderate in its statements.
But given that, then, is there any chance for real change in Tunisia, or might, I mean, we're talking about domino effects already around the region, but this isn't over yet. If this does turn out to be just a, managed change, you get a blogger in the government now as Minister of Youth and so forth to show change, without real change actually occurring, might it just simply demonstrate the limits of change in the region?
Right. I don't think we're there yet, and I'm a little bit more optimistic than that with regard to Tunisia itself. I agree with you that with regard to a domino effect in the region, I'm not holding my breath for other regimes, Algeria, Egypt, Yemen, to fall anytime soon. Although, as you know, there's a tremendous amount of excitement in the Arab world as a result of this. So we'll have to see. Right now, I think the forces of change are the Tunisian people on the street who want more fundamental change, who want a fundamental change of regime, not just the removal of Ben Ali. Many of these ministers and much of the old guard is still there. What they're calling for is a much more thorough, much more radical change. Out with the old, a new regime, a new system, even constitutional amendments that would really potentially bring about greater democracy, greater pluralism, and so on.
Now, you seem skeptical about the domino effect. Now, Cairo Stock Exchange plummeted on Wednesday, though. They seemed a bit scared of a domino effect. Why are you skeptical, though?
Well, I'm not skeptical that there aren't dynamics at play in the region. We've seen a tremendous amount of popular movement as well as regimes responding. I mean, subsidies have been raised in Libya, in Algeria, in Egypt, and in Jordan to try to stem some of the economic frustrations that led to the Tunisian revolution. But at the same time, the regimes are different. They're maybe a little bit shrewder than Ben Ali's regime, a little bit more sophisticated.
More escape valves?
There are, and I think that's one of the primary lessons here, that when there are no escape valves, that when there is no independent freedom and so on, then that's when this kind of an explosion can occur. But there's much more, although limited, opportunities for dissent in places like Algeria and Egypt and Jordan than there were in Tunisia, and that might allow these systems to, unfortunately, live another day.
And an opposition who wants to work within the system, I suppose.
Some of the opposition want to work within the system, that's right.
Professor Shehata, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's return to our top story now, the Chinese president's state visit to the U.S. Our correspondent in Beijing, Melissa Chan, has just joined